Welcome to our first Vendee Online. Our mission is to bring you news from the skippers still out on the race course, as well as good discussions and special guests and interesting topics. Our special guests today are Benoit Marie. You worked for Jean-Pierre Dick in New Zealand. You won the Mini Transat in 2013. And now you race moths nationally and internationally with great results. We also have Jay Thompson. You sailed around the world with your family for 10 years without a motor. And now you're building a Mini designed by Guillaume Verdier for the next Mini Transat. Today we address how the Mini has been a stepping stone for most professional offshore sailors. We will be talking to Conrad and ROURA, who both began their careers in the class Mini.
For the weather, we'll start at the back of the fleet with Sébastien Destremo. He's currently going along the ice limit, so he's a little bit stuck with that because he has no wind otherwise, and he will be able to escape north with some stable wind, but he will have to go upwind for a few days. Then in front of him we have Peter Erema, who is currently progressing north very well because he's got some stable winds. It is not the case for the group in front of him. Didac Costa, Romain Atanasio and Alan ROURA are struggling a little bit along Brazil because the wind is not very stable for now and they have a lot of squalls, which is not very easy to negotiate. However, they will have more stable winds in the coming days. For the two next boats in front of them, for Arnaud Boissière and Fabrice Amedeo, they are currently progressing very well in the approach to the equator. The doldrums look like they will be fairly easy to go through, so we never know, but it looks still like a fast passage for them and they will be past the equator very soon in the coming days. In front of them we have Conrad COLMAN following Eric Bellion. They are both in the same weather system. They have quite stable and strong winds, so they are making quick progress to the north and they will have that for the next few days as well. In front of them, Nendor Fa is going around the Azores High and he will be catching a big depression in the next few hours that will take him all the way to Les Sables d'Olonne. So it will be a little sporty for Nendor, but he should be in next week in Les Sables d'Olonne, so it's a good reward.
We have Conrad on the phone.
I think so.
Bon, hello and welcome to the first Vendee Online. We have Jay Thompson and Benoit Marie here by my side. I had one question for you before I hand it over to them. What is the one thing you are looking forward to when you get back on land? And it can't be like your wife, you know?
What? You took the word out of my mouth. I have to think about your response now.
That's the obvious, so we want to know the non-obvious.
I might have to say, like, number one, my wife, number two, pizza. Since the damage of the boat and the sails and so on, it's been a bit of a long drag to get back up here into the North Atlantic. And so I'm really looking forward to getting that sense of satisfaction from crossing the lines. And because that's going to be the payback for all of the hard work and stress and anxiety that I've been through these past few months.
Well, wonderful. You will have a big team there waiting for your arrival. We will all be there. Hopefully, you'll be on our third show. So, you know, no pressure, but we're trying to do once a week. So hopefully, not in the next one, but in the next one, we would like to have you live on our show.
Oh, goodness me, I could be a kid.
Cool. So, Conrad, this is Benoit.
Yes.
This is Benoit speaking, and I wanted to ask you a question. But first of all, I'm really impressed by what you're doing. I know that your Vendee Globe has not been an easy race and an easy journey, especially before the start. What we don't really talked about during the race, maybe. But I wanted to ask you, what is your highest satisfaction in your journey, in your sailing journey in your Vendee Globe race?
Yeah, well, it's been more of an adventure than a race than I had anticipated. You know, in the sense that, you know, the first part of the race I was pushing quite hard to stay with the faster boats. And now they're either behind me, in front of me, or broken. So I've been sailing a little bit of a solitary solo race, with not so much the sensation that I'm racing, even though I'm still trying to do the maneuvers very well. It gives me time to think about what it means to sail around the world and to do that by yourself, and to think, you know, still getting around our little planet on the ocean is still proving to be really hard. So give me lots of time to think and really enjoy the scenery around me. I've got flying fish flying over the boat, so it's quite cool. There's lots of interesting things going on around me all the time, and it's wonderful to be at sea. It's something that I really enjoy, and I really feel as a sense of privilege. So.
Well, that's wonderful. So I have Jay Thompson, who's on your team helping you prepare your boat. He has a question for you.
Hello, Mr. Conrad. How are you doing?
Good
Good to hear you. It sounds like you're in good spirits. So that's good news. I was wondering how things are on board, and in what ways are you dealing with the conditions, considering you're quite limited on your sales. So what type of thinking and are you doing in terms of tactics with missing having a big gap in your sales? Are you changing a lot your routing? Are you just changing the way you sail? So in what ways are you have adapted to your loss of sales?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. That it does make it more difficult having these holes in my sail wardrobe. At the moment, I've got basically a long drag on starboard with a reach with 20 to 25 knots of wind. So I've still got a couple hundred miles of that, and that's pretty simple because there's one reach in the main and the J3 on the front, and hang on while the boat bounces its way northwards. But then I've got a bit of a transition up when I get close to the Azores, and then there's a depression that should give me strong southerlies associated with this front. That should allow me to make good miles towards Vendee and Spain. So it's really just this area of transition to figure out how close I want to get to the center of the anticyclone, whether I can turn it into a code zero moment, or whether I stay further out there to keep strong breeze until I switch. So it's something that I'm still working on, but the picture will become more clear as the weather trials progress.
Excellent. Yeah, a lot of good information. Well, you've been tactically pretty strong in this race, so hopefully you can keep it going to the end, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks very much, Jay.
Yeah, see you, man.
Hello, we have ROURA on the line. I have a question for you. You might be the youngest skipper of the Vendee, but you look like the oldest. Is this a tradition for you, or do you have a plan or a ritual for this beard?
Well, I don't know if that is a compliment or not, but that is maybe the only opportunity in my life that I can have a beer like that. So I don't know. I just did it till the end because it's to remember the race, like the time spending at sea, and I think that's quite funny. But when I arrived, I'll shave all that and be myself because that's quite scary. Like a monkey actually.
Yeah, hi Alan. I just wanted to tell you a big bravo for your race because I know it's tough, and Yeah, so you have an old boat and a very, very tight budget, maybe one of the tightest of the race. I wanted to ask you, how does this affect your race and the way you manage it?
Well, it's a hard project because you know that without money and the old boat, it's very difficult to take us out of the race like that. But I'm not the only one. There's a few other boats, so it's good to don't be alone. The good point is, even if it's an old boat and didn't have a lot of money to make it really ready. Like you said, I still on the race after 87 days at sea. I think I'm not that good. I'm on the 13th place and playing with Paris and Gary, the super boat, and they're big projects compared to mine. So,
Well, we are very happy that you are still in the race, very proud of the race that you've had. I also have Jay Thompson here beside me who has a question for you.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing? It's nice to hear you speak. We haven't spoke since the day you left for the Vendee Globe, and I was curious, along with many other people, of how you are dealing with your boat. I know that your boat is probably one of the most difficult boats in the fleet to sail, especially because your keel is not on any type of hydraulic system. Your keel works on a winch. So I was a little bit curious on how your workflow is when you carry out maneuvers, when you tack and when you jibe. With a normal keel system, of course, you can be carrying out your maneuver while the keel ram is sort of taking care of the keel, but you don't have that advantage. So if you could tell us how that works.
well, that works like the Mini actually. That's the same system. Two blocks, two ropes, a winch. Jibe or tag it takes alone. I mean, like quite a long time. But I've got no problems because I don't have the hydraulic system and just blocks and ropes, so pretty simple. But when the wind is too high, like when it goes up to 35, and jibing, the difference between me and the others is it's like when they want to tag, it's pretty easy. They just pull the wheel and they tag and press the button. And the keel goes in the middle and directly on the other side. It takes me like half an hour to do a tack or a jibe on heavy wind. So, and now I've got another problem. The mast went out completely, so I had the wind for my halyard to make that. So I need to put it on the wings of the puppet.
Well, wonderful. It was great having you on our show. Hopefully we can have you on it again. Keep up the good work and viento en popa.
Well, thank you very much, and have a good day, everybody.
Yeah, Alan, we'll see you when you arrive in Les Sables, and congratulations.
Yeah, we're waiting for you, my friend. Keep sailing and don't break anything, huh?
No, I stopped breaking stuff now. I'm done. I broke everything, and now.
The Mini Transat is described as a mad race. It takes skippers across the Atlantic on very small boats and very fast speeds. It's a proving ground for sailing skills. Testing on these boats was and still is the future of all boat design. In the Mini Transat of 1991, the canting keel was invented, and this is still a staple on most of today's highest performance boats. 4 years after that, it was used for the first time in the Vendee Globe. For this year's Mini Transat, foils will be allowed, as they have been on this edition of the Vendee Globe. It is exciting times and a leap forward for offshore racing. Jay, we've heard that you have your hands on a Mini design by Guillaume Verdier. What is the story with this boat?
Well, it's an interesting story. The boat was originally designed for this guy named Serge, and his idea was to create a series of prototype minis that then people could end up finishing. But sort of the idea, I guess, never really caught on, and so ever since 2009, this boat has been designed and sort of half built. So I just kind of was on the search for a boat that fit my type of sailing. So I was looking for a boat that was a pretty simple and also very light. I think that's a way to be very competitive in the race, and so at that point I just started to search, and there's 3 of these boats actually that are all in different stages of completion. So I ended up almost kind of stumbling upon mine when I ended up speaking to Serge.
And are you going to make it to the start? Where is your project at, and what does it entail?
Yeah. I've been working like a madman, about maybe 12 hours or something like this a day, which has been of course quite challenging, because I'm always trying to really manage my time between my responsibilities of my family and also trying to find money and get the boat done. But the boat is the construction-wise, the boat is on schedule, so I should be getting the design for the foils here soon, and then I will be basically putting on the deck. The deck is basically half built, ready to go on as well. So I feel like I'm pretty much on schedule, but I definitely have some more work to do. I have to find definitely some more money and to keep these things going. But other than that, I think that I think that it's possible, and so I'm fairly excited to have this project. It's been, for me, a great experience so far.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. It would be great to see Mini designed by Guillaume Verdier floating in the water, especially equipped with foils.
He's the man, when it comes to designing boats. He's definitely an interesting character, the way he's designing his, especially because, I've built some other boats, and building his type of boat is completely different in a way. He really knows what he's doing.
I can't agree more. I mean, everything is designed just one.
What are you doing now? What's happening?
Yeah, so I'm trying to fly. I've been flying on boats with foils in the last 3 years, because I always thought the future was on foils. And so I raced on international moth with quite good results, and I just got the boat that finished second at the last World Championships. So I'm really looking forward to racing this boat in the next Worlds that is going to happen in Italy in July. And this boat comes from another world, so I'm really curious to see how it goes. And I have a sort of quest of speed in my life, and so adding foils is like the way to go. And I've always tried to add some modules of technologies to my knowledge, and so I have been testing in the last days some foiling kiteboards and all of that. My goal is to bring all of those knowledge to foiling offshore.
Because you're an engineer.
I'm an engineer. Yeah. It's a big part of my way of sailing. I race prototype and I have ideas. I try to develop them to see how they go. Sometimes they are not so good. Sometimes they are really good. And I try to understand what makes them so good and what makes them not so good. And the idea is to bring all this knowledge to something way bigger, to cross the ocean on foils. And like flying with a multi-hull across the ocean is my kind of long-term dreams. And so I have a few steps towards that. And so I would like to have a go on the trimaran for the next Route du Rhum. And that is going to happen next year in France, in a year and a half. So yeah, wish me luck.
Yeah, you got a busy schedule going, huh?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, well, good luck, huh?
Yeah, thanks.
So we've seen how skippers that have been in the Mini before, they've done really well in this Vendee Globe. They're the most resourceful, it seems like. So how do you think that the Mini is a good stepping stone for the Vendee?
I think the Mini is all about manage a project from the beginning to the end. There is like 2 years of, sometimes more, sometimes a bit less, but basically 2 years of work to get the boat ready, get the skipper ready, don't forget anything, or maybe just forget everything that you can before the actual race. So I think it's a lot of learning. It's a little Vendee Globe race basically. It's the race is a bit smaller, the boat is smaller, but in the end, technologies are kind of similar in terms of at least in the prototypes. You see the technologies on the minis and on the IMOCAs, they are very similar. Maybe the size changes, but. Yeah. So what you learn on the Mini on how to manage a project, from how to manage the preparation of the boat and how to find a budget and everything is really relevant, I think, to my point of view, to how you manage a project in a sailing, like a sailing campaign, and especially a Vendee Globe.
Yeah, it just seems to me that their performance and what they are able to fix while they're racing, that they don't give up easily. These mini guys, as we've seen in this Vendee Globe.
Yeah, well, I can't compare it to the other guys because I don't have the experience. But what it taught me is that once you've done a Mini Transat, you know why you've done it, and you know if you want to keep going. So the guy who keeps going and do the Vendee Globe, I think they know why they do it and why they're there. So of course, like you see those guys that really want to finish the race, and it's amazing to see them having problems, like huge problems, like losing sails, having problems, and just solving them once at a time and keep going. So I really hope we can see them all at the finish line, but I'm quite confident, after 87 days at sea.
Yeah, I think one of the big factors is as well as that in the Mini Transat, of course, there's absolutely no outside assistance. I mean, you can't even talk to anybody, or other than on VHF, and you have limited access to weather, and so you're really on your own completely on the Mini Transat. So you really have to it kind of sets the mindset, I think, early for these type of people who who then later end up doing the Vendee Globe are kind of more autosufficient, I would think.